Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is the news that's probably the huge news of the summer. And it's less about the specific person and more about kind of what's all coming behind it. So James Tynion IV has been writing Batman to much acclaim. He's brought the sales bag up pretty significantly. DC has invested heavily in him. He's brought a lot of new IP to the table and everything else. And he basically announced today he's quitting Batman and largely DC Comics. Now, some people are misreporting it a little bit because, his comic is, or his comments specifically, I'm just going to read them to you, said, DC had presented me with a 3-year renewal of my exclusive contract. That's the important words there, with the intent of me working on Batman for the bulk of the time. I was grateful for the offer, but I couldn't help but look at the success of my original creator-owned titles and wonder if it was the right choice. And then I received another contract, the best I'd ever been given in a decade as a professional comic book writer, a grant from Substack, thanks Nick Spencer, to create a new slate of original comic book properties directly on their platform that my co-creators and I would own completely, with Substack taking none of the intellectual property rights or even the publishing rights. Given my bandwidth, I knew I could only pick one of the two contracts sitting in front of me. So, really important here is just for the sake of clarity and honesty. Tynion is talking about an exclusive contract, which he's turned down. Now, does this mean Tynion is done with DC, like a lot of people are claiming? No. Tynion can still write things for DC. DC will undoubtedly make it worth his while to do a few things with them. So this isn't I'm walking away from DC. It's walking away from a DC exclusive contract. Hopefully none of you right now are going, potato, potato. It actually is a significant difference. However, that aside, it is massive news that James Tynion, who was promoted by DC, had the Nice House on the Lake, the Batman, all the other books, doing Joker, all this kind of material, he'd really emerged as being kind of the guy over at DC. And he basically, not toward the end of his popularity, not after his numbers started to fall, but while they were still rising, elected to walk away from an exclusive guaranteed deal and instead take this deal with Substack. So what does the Substack deal mean? Well, first of all, remember the videos and the comments about Nick Spencer and me saying Substack was probably going to be a pretty major thing, and there was a lot of people, especially indie creators, who are kind of wanting to throw a lot of shade at Nick Spencer. Like a bunch of people threw around the misogynist and racist words again for strangers. Oh, I think they tossed around he was an evil Republican again because he once ran for office on it. But anyway, all kind of crazy. Remember all that drama about a month ago now, wasn't it? Like 6 weeks ago, all this went on. Well, I remember saying at the time this was going to be massive. It was something you should pay attention to, and clearly you should. So Scott Snyder is also, by the way, going to offer writing classes through Substack at $7 a month. He, of course, has his Amazon deal that is sitting out there. But in general, Substack is absolutely taking a bigger cut of this market, is going aggressively at it, like some of the others. We talked about, remember, Tapas is out there. Some of the other digital webcomic companies are out there. There's a lot of people making some very big moves into comics that are not Marvel, DC, and Image. And right now, I think you have those three companies and some of the smaller guys looking kind of shell-shocked at what's going on. I've already heard from multiple editors at both Marvel and DC who are jaws are on the floor that somebody, and what's interesting is Tynion crazy? He's walking away from an exclusive contract from one of the biggest companies for just this unknown thing. No, I think, let's assume for the moment that James Tynion's not a moron and actually is getting a good paycheck with Substack. Why wouldn't you do something like that? But clearly, this is the one of the things that's coming out here. So, and Tynion kind of talks a little bit further about saying, when I got my Substack deal, my jaw pretty much fell out of my skull. I remember sending it to my lawyer asking if it could be real because it was exactly the kind of offer I was dreaming would fall out of the sky and into my lap, and it was. So the math in my head started changing pretty rapidly, and I knew what I had to do. For the last couple of decades, there's been a particular model to sustainable careers in comic book writing. First, you do some work at some of the smaller independent publishers to get the attention of the big two. Then you transition to writing for the big two and work your way up the ladder to the highest profile book you can muster. And then you use your larger platform from the superhero work to draw folks back into your independent work, often using the money from those big superhero books to subsidize your own books before they turn a profit. But even if you do that, you're still subject to the whims of a very small market with very specific habits and tastes. There are limits to what you can get away with if you're worried about funded issue 6 when you're writing issue 1. This deal gives me the security build sort of books I think could thrive in the comic market given the chance, but require growing in a different sort of way than monthly periodicals. Because let me tell you, I have ideas. And then he goes on to kind of some of his ideas. And basically, we don't know if Tynian's going to be successful or not. It's very likely Tynian comes out. And when I say very likely, I just mean historically via the odds. More people do medium work or fail than do massive, huge blockbuster success in comics and OGNs. There's far more people who didn't make it than make it. That's just a tough reality of where things are at. But it now comes down to his skill and ability to bring in an audience, which is interesting. So this is what it looks like right now. This is a massive deal in comics. And when is it going to start? Well, Tynian and Michael Oeming are starting in September. Well, literally September, for a new book dealing with UFOs and some other things. So this isn't something that's going to play out in a year or in months and months and months. It's playing out right now, and it is rapidly working its way through the comic industry. Again, I've been getting these notes, and the strange part about them is people are incredulous about this. They are. It's still this thinking of, why would anyone want to leave the big two? Why would anyone want to leave us where the biggest thing's going? That's pretty shocking that mentality is still going when you see everything that has kind of shaken out. This is a big deal. So his exclusive contract ending at DC this year. Again, it's an exclusive contract, so will Tynian still do some work for Batman? I would be willing to bet there's still something that he does somewhere within DC. Definitely, I think people who, like Nick Spencer, who has a deal but also was supposed to be pulling in some people. It's hard to say whether Spencer helped pull in Tynian or maybe even some of what Snyder did, but clearly something. Clearly he had some role, so Spencer... If Spencer is being judged and rewarded based on his ability to grow kind of comic creators coming into Substack, this is a pretty good, he's off to a good start, let's say, to get that bonus. Some additional, as I said, we've got at least 2 books coming out from Tynian and Substack this year. We've got more next year. And again, will they work? I don't know. It's possible that none of this stuff will go anywhere. It's possible that Substack doesn't make it work. But for now, House on the Lake is continuing with DC. I think that there will be, at least, again, I'd be shocked if he abandons DC completely. There will still be little things, just like Snyder is still connected to DC on some level. And if you're interested in reading this stuff on Substack, apparently the base tier is $7 a month, and you get everything. The upcoming comics, it's a subscription, so you're $7 a month or $75 a year. By the way, if you've been listening to this channel and you heard a couple weeks ago, at least, me talk about a subscription where you get everything. Hey, maybe I'm not crazy. Just saying, I'll do the old pat myself on the back thing. But basically, it's an interesting model of subscription, and it's healthier. Remember all our conversations around crowdfunding and kind of where some of the business model broke down. The Substack model, if it can go, is an interesting one, because basically you can do $7 a month or $75 a year. Or if you want, you can buy for Perks. You can basically do $250 a year, and you get all of his comics plus prints plus variant covers plus exclusive items. And this is an interesting model. It's definitely going to take off to some extent. It's definitely, we are going to see some of this play. At the end of the day, the content is what's going to either make it work or not work. But that's the big news. James Tynion IV walking away from Batman and pretty much the king seat at DC, which can only mean one thing. That's right, Tom King returning to Batman. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see how it all plays out. Let me know your thoughts, what you think of all this as it evolves. I'll give you more news as it comes, and thanks for listening.